Okay. Good morning, and welcome to the selling skills session. No? So, welcome sa lahat ng mga selling professionals, ng mga salespeople, lahat ng mga ang livelihood is into selling. So, for today's session, your Wisdom Wealth Coach, Lilibet Soriano Valete, will be sharing the fundamentals on how to really increase your sales. Gusto niyo ba yon? That it will be a sustainable and that it will always be predictable yung ating results in terms of selling. Okay, so let's begin. We'll have to follow the basic format, no? Para maging mahusay tayong salesperson, we'll really have to remember these four acronyms that I would be sharing. Dapat parati natin siyang bit-bit, no? For sales professionals in the life insurance industry, gone are those times na nag-approach ng kliyente at sinabi niya, "Ma'am, may life insurance ka na ba?" Diba? Tapos na yon, tapos na yung era na ganon. And if those people are successful in that kind of way of selling, then right now, with the complicated or more sophisticated clientele, we cannot do that anymore. Okay? And even to mga real estate, diba? Tapos na din yung era na kaagad diretso sa bahay. Yung specifics ng bahay. Car insurance salesman, diba? Tapos na din yun, diretso ka kaagad dun sa binibenta mo. So number one, when you talk to in front of the client, kausap mo yung kliyente, dapat you'll have to get their what? Their attention. Attention means you'll really get to connect with them as a person. Because this would be the hardest among all of the basic 4 steps that I would be sharing with you, is to really getting the attention. Okay? Kasi as a salesperson and as a client, there is a big, thick wall. Makapal at malaking wall yan. No, na nagdi-divide between the two of you. You are the selling professional and you are the client. We ourselves are always been a client to in one point of a time, di ba? Pag bumili tayo ng bahay, we're a client. When we are buying something, we are a client. So in the other way around, we have to understand the feelings of the client. And the good salesperson would understand that for him or her to connect to that particular client, he or she must draw attention. Okay, so for the purpose of discussion, I would just be using the salesperson into a he gender, di ba? Mga lalaki kasi magagaling yung mga lalaking magbenta. No? So he na lang ang gender natin sa mga sales professionals. Okay? So the person must get the attention of the client, and what's next? Nakuha na niya yung attention. You'll have to have the interest of the client. So that means that sa attention kanina, inalis natin yung dividing wall between the client and being the sales professional. Nawala na yon. We'll have the attention already. Nakapasok na tayo doon sa attention span ng kliyente. And now, the client is already listening to us. What we have to understand is to get the continuous interest of the client. You'll have to find that kind of interest, no? So kabisado to ng mga lalaki when they are approaching pag nanliligaw sila ng babae. It's a very simple analogy, but it's true. What does the interest of the girl would mean to them, no? Hindi mo pwedeng ligawan ng isang babae na hindi mo alam ang interest niya. Kasi siya liligawan because, you will have to push through to the interest of that girl. Mahilig ba siya sa kain sa labas? Mahilig ba siya sa concert? Mahilig ba siya sa whatever? So the role of financial advisor, the role of a salesperson, the role of the person who is making the sale must be to understand what is that interest of the client. No? That would be unearthed during probing or during the conversation or the one-on-one conversation with the client. So ma-interest na tayo, we'll have to go with the desire. Kailangan from the interest, no, we'll have to really poke the hole. We really have to understand, no, kung paano yung desire niya to do as a person would really affect on what you are saying. We will just be connoting this for life insurance sales professional. For those sales professional in the life insurance industry, say for example, the client is a mother. Syempre, ang desire niyan to have a good future for the kids. Na ang desire niyan makapag-aral ang kanyang mga anak. And of course, ang desire niyan, pag tumanda silang mag-asawa, it would be a good retirement for them. So we'll have to understand the pinpoints or the desire of the client. Without those understanding of the desire, we would never go to the action. Wag muna tayong tatalo, no? Ito po yung 2 million coverage for your kids for them to have a financial good financial future. Okay, wag tayong tatalong kaagad. We'll have to identify the desire, and then that's the right time. We've had understood the desire of the client, specifically kahit sa mga real estate, 'di ba? Alam mo na ang hinahanap niya, alam mo yung kaniyang goal as well. So they are four in the family, so they're looking for spacious garage because their previous house has no garage, 'di ba? So alam mo na specifically, and then you would go to action. All right, so knowing the client well is just the basic fundamentals of selling anything. Most specifically when you're selling intangible products, just like life insurance. It's intangible, it's just promise, and their trust to you, no, and to the company itself. No? So bitbit natin si Aida, si attention. So alam natin siya. Before we talk about our product, we have to get through the attention of the client by really smashing the wall that is separating between the client and the salesperson. We'll have to really identify the interests of the client and then pushing to the desire button of the client, and of course, moving that client to action. Action means pipirma na yan, magbabayad na yan, and kukuha na yan to whatever you're offering to the client. Okay? All right. So next step, bakit? No? When we do the attention, may kailangan din natin siyang gawin bago we could move towards the next step. Kailangan din po natin, for TS, we'll have to earn the trust. Okay? Importante yan. Who am I talking to? Sino ba yung kausap ko? Ano bang company yung nire-represent niya? Ano bang pagkatao ang meron yung kausap ko? So you have to establish the trust. Kasi remember, when we talk to the person, we first judge the person based on what we see. And next would be based on what we heard. And would be based on what we learned from that particular person. Diba? Kung yung sa C pa lang, nakita pa lang natin yung tao, is mukha ng Purita Mirasol, sorry for the word, or mukha na siyang hindi trustworthy, then there would be a problem to that particular sales professional. No. So wala tayong nakitang sales professional na mga tattoo or mga unprofessional look, because the trust issue will be a matter of importance, no? Unless of course nagbebenta siya ng tattoo or nagbebenta siya ng something, unconventional look that matches his or her personality. Okay, so next we'll have to also understand the need of the client, diba? So mayroon na tayong trust. Kailangan naman nating i-need yung kliyente. No, need means, of course, in economy, there's unlimited wants of the client. But of course, when there's a need, it is supposed to be non-negotiable. Yun yung dapat nating maparamdam sa kliyente. This is not an unlimited wants, but this is a need for you. Say, for example, in the life insurance industry again, a need to become protected. No, bakit kailangan mo na magkaroon ng protection as a person? Bakit kailangan ng isang working class to really prepare for the retirement? Bakit kailangan ng isang breadwinner to have an income protection? Okay, so that's typically a thing that we need to emphasize to our client in the financial advisory system, and mostly could also be applied to other, financial to other selling professionals. No, you'll have to identify the need of the client. Okay, next would be, of course, kailangan merong help. No? Anong natutulong ng produkto mo o serbisyo mo sa kliyente? Kailangan na-identify ng kliyente yon, hindi ikaw ang nagsasabi. Kasi kapag ikaw ang nagsasabi, the tendency would be, you will be ignored. And if you will be ignored, you will feel bad. If you will feel bad, you will have no sales. Does it follow? It's called the ripple effect. Diba? So we wouldn't want to be ignored, because as a sales professional, we are the solution to the need, we are the help to the other people's need. Okay, so we have to understand that. We are always the solution because we're giving them solutions through our products and services, not the other way around. Okay, so we have to wear that crown that we are giving a helping hand to other people by means of giving them the products and services that we have. But they have to understand kung ano yun. No? And it's our duty kung ano yung ibibigay natin sa kliyente. Okay, and of course, the fourth one would be when you establish the help to the client, you have to press on the hurry. No? Ito yung mga marketing technique ng mga nakikita natin sa mall. Hurry, 50% sale right now, today, mga ganyan, mga marketing techniques nila, di ba? So also, this is also a good tool for everyone, no, na pwede din gamitin for you to initiate the sale, to really push through to the hurry or the timeline that your company is offering, because we'll have to make the client really, hindi natin dinideceive ang kliyente, this is the disclaimer. We as sales professionals, for us to become very good in front of the client, there should be no inch or an ounce of deception. Okay, so of course, in ACMA, we value integrity because our core values is God first. We do this, as nakikita tayo ng Diyos in how we do our livelihood. So we don't want to construe or mislead the client into getting something na hindi naman totoo. Ginagawa mo lang siya, promo lang po ito, 50%, di ba? Don't do that. Don't lie to the client. But instead, be very smart in pushing into the hurry without using any marketing tools, no? We'll have to ensure that the client have that kind of desire for them to enjoy the benefit or the products and services that you are offering to them by acting now. Diba? Mas magandang approach yun. For the client to feel that they are being helped with the products and services you are sending, rather than making any misconceptions or lies in terms of promotion. May mga naririnig din kasi ako na para lang makabenta, sasabihin niya, "Ma'am, promo to, 50% off today." Or for the month lang po, may promo po kami. Pero wala naman talagang promo. Diba? They are just misleading the client. Okay, so the point of this conversation is that we don't need to lie. What we need to have is that to push on the hurry button of the client by means of really showing the client that what we are offering them is a help and they need it. And because they trust us, they will push through the transaction. Okay, so we've understood already the 4 acronym, the T and HH. We'll go to the last one. No? Itong last one naman na to, ito yung ginagamit natin during the conversation na sa kliyente. Diba? So nakita natin yung flow, no? So dapat iintindihin natin as sales professional, have I touched all of the flows being mentioned? Diba? So nakuha ko ba yung attention ng kliyente? Did I have the trust? So you could do that with the next one, which is letter R, RPSC naman tayo, will go with the rapport. Diba? This is, again, yung pinaka number 1 na kinukwento natin. Ito yung pinaka mahirap sa flow. No? So ito yung, it's very difficult, no, for a sales professional to really tap into that wall. Diba? So we could do that by means of rapport. No? Mahirap yan. Ang rapport means you have to find commonality between you and the client. No? Because later in our segment, we would understand that people would like to do business with people like themselves. And of course, may kasabihan tayo, di ba? Same feather flocks together. So we attract who we are. We trace who we are. Typically, we do that also when we are doing our business, no? So rapport means everything in the conversation with the client. If you're a sales professional, rapport is really the crucial part of everything, because this is when the client will hear you. This is when the client will judge you. And this is the client will listen to you or reject you. No? So kung dito pa lang sa rapport, ganun ka na, wala na, tapos na ang laban. Pero pag sa rapport pa lang, you are very much well perceived as trustworthy. And then the attention is all yours with the client. Okay, so what's next? You have your attention, trust, and rapport. You'll have to create problem. Now, creating problem is, of course, making a sale. Diyan nag-uumpisa pa lang po ang benta. Diba? When there is a problem to be solved. That's why as a sales professional, we would want to wear the crown that we are the solution to their problem, not the way around. No? Hindi sila yung solusyon sa problema natin because we will be getting a commission from them. That's a wrong mindset. And if that would be your mindset, then you will be a flop salesperson, because you will be chasing commission, you will be chasing yield from that particular client, and you will be perceived as a pushy and not a good financial advisor to our industry, or a pushy, not so good, and ayaw natin ng bara-bara na sales professional. Okay? When we converse and when we transact with a person, we would want to make sure that we are really giving them, we are really the solution to their problem. And again, going back to the basic 4-step format, we'll really have to understand, ipapaintindi natin sa kliyente kung ano yung problema na meron sila. For short, bibigyan natin sila ng problema. Now, for short, we'll have to challenge the status quo. That's always been the case. That would always be the selling point of a person or an individual selling anything. No? Because again and again, we'll have to identify that selling is something that we'll have to transfer. We're transferring feelings towards the person we're talking to. No, kung ano yung problema ng kliyente, we should identify that. We should give them. Kung hindi nila na-identify yung problema, then it will be our task to ask leading questions for them to really identify their problem. Okay, so are we good? We have to identify the problem. No, we need to help the client identify their problems as well. That is basing onto what problem we would want them to identify. Ganun dapat kagaling mga sales professionals, because we control the conversation, we control the response of the client, and we control, of course, it's already been scientifically laid out, no? Yung conversation natin with the client for us to help the client as a person or as an individual. Again, wearing this or using this basic 4-step, ang ating objective is to help the client. When we're helping the client, we are helping ourselves as well. We will be very good in what we do. And when we are very good in what we do, syempre madami tayong nasasarang kaso or na bibentang products and services that you are related to. Number 3, will have to be the solution, diba? So dyan nag-emanate ang lahat. After you identify the problem, you have to present the solution. And then when I present the solution, and you have to ask leading questions. So what do you think of this, mom? No. So what's your thought about my presentation? You have to ask. What do you think, mom, if you're in the financial industry, what do you think, mom, will be a life of a person if in case a person gets sick and has no health coverage at all? How do you think that particular person would feel pag nagkasakit siya? Use a very good question for them to understand the solution to whatever need that they have. All right, so solution-based tayo. So we provide solution, but we are not feeding them, because telling them is not selling. Telling them is just narrating. No? Telling them is just presenting. But making them understand the solution to their problem, that is selling. Okay, so we'll have to be very good on to making our client understand the solution that we are presenting to them by leading questions. And after that, they have identified the solution that they need to have. You'll have to close na the case. Okay, so here, mom, is the application form. So what would you need? What would you use? Credit card, check, or cash? All right. So very easy. The objective, it's not very easy actually. Let me just retract that, no? It's doable, no? Because this is very simple but never been easy. No, lahat ng mga sales professional, kahit matagal na yan, I've been with the industry for 20 years already, 20 years, no? Tanda ako na. 2 decades already in this life insurance industry, and it will never be easy breezy talk with a client. Even 20 years na po ako sa industriya, because different client, different approach, different stroke, and different presentation as well. No, but kahit na magkakaibang mga kliyente that we are dealing with, pare-parehas po ang ginagamit natin na basic step format. What we would want to understand for the newbies, no, sa mga matatanda na din sa industriya, when we would want to have a steady, predictable, and sustainable business in the selling field, we have to master these 4 basic steps. No? Huwag ka munang magsara kapag hindi ka pa nagta-trust. Wala pang trust sa iyong kliyente. Huwag mo munang papirmahin ang kliyente kung di mo pa alam kung saan ang gusto niyang, anong pain points niya. Alright. Huwag ka din munang mag-solve ng problem kapag hindi pa kayo in same wavelength ng kliyente. Wala pa kayong rapport. Wala pa siyang trust sa'yo. Huwag ka munang mag-present ng any need. Alright. Utang na loob, pumunta ka muna sa first stage, which is getting the attention of the client, getting the trust, and getting the, going on with the rapport. Never go to the second step unless you are successfully done with your first step. Are we good with that? Okay, so ganun po ang sequence natin ha. Huwag po tayong tatalon sa stage 3, no? Magpupunta na tayo sa solution without having the stage 1 successfully presented to the client. And skipping the number 2, we'll have to go through the flow. We call that format, we call that basic 4-step format, non-negotiable to touch all of the points, no? In terms of presenting to the client. May mga tinatawag na given client, but these are given clients are called the 1 in a million. Given client yung tipong pumunta sa store mo, bibili ako niyan, anong binibenta mo? Diba? There are people like that also. So you don't need all of this kasi gusto na niyang bumili, di ba? Tama na, wag nang lagyan ng basic 4-step. But this is just 1 in a million clients. The 999,000 clients would really need this 4-step basic format for you to have a sustainable longevity and predictable income in the selling field. Okay? So I hope you're learning something. So let's go to the next. Ano pa ang dapat nating malaman? This is a very important tool for you also to understand. Extremely important points is that a sale format follows a logical sequence. No, logical lang lahat ng mga bagay. No, hindi siya pwedeng bara-barabay. Hindi pwedeng ang kliyente in-approach ka, do you have life insurance? Yes, I have. How much do you want to have? Toink! Tapos na ang laban. 'Di ba? Hindi ka naging mahusay na financial advisor for that. No, kundi you have skipped the process unless again there's always an exemption to the rule if that particular client is 1 in a million, and that is what we call given client. Lahat naman ng selling industry may tinatawag tayong given client, di ba? Yung pumasok doon sa storeroom mo, sa sa showroom, tapos may dala ng cash, talagang ready to buy na. Tapos talagang gusto na niya, alam na niyang gusto niyang bilhin. Okay, so those are what we call 1 in a million client. Given client yan. No? Gustong-gusto natin yung mga ganyang kliyente. Walang question, walang presentation, tapos na. No? Bigay ng Diyos yan na tinatawag nating kliyente. But again, going back to the regular and to the daily grind that we have as selling professionals, we really have to understand, or we really have to always get these points, important points, that wag natin skip yung basic format. Okay, a sale format follows a logical sequence. And of course, all steps are emotions that the customer experiences. Nakita natin, no? We buy based on emotions, and of course, we do the action based on our brains, no, or our rational, logical thinking. A logical sequence of feelings requires control. As a sales professional, if you are a good sales professional, you are in control of the table. You are in control of the conversation. Hindi yung kliyente yung in control sa'yo. At naghihintay ka na lang kung anong sasabihin ng kliyente. Mali yun. Diba? Ang gusto natin, we are prepared in front of the client. We know what we would want to happen at the end of the conversation with the client. It's very clear to us kasi clarity is power. And of course, we'll really have to be in control of the client. Okay? So there are always techniques, psychology, and control, diba? So we would be dealing deeper that into our next session on how we could really execute this control when we are in front of the client. Okay? But right now, importante na malaman kung gusto mong maging magaling na sales professional, you should follow a logical sequence. Meron siyang steps, yung diniscuss ko kanina, na basic format of steps na dapat mong daanan bago ka magsara ng kliyente, regardless of your industry. At yung mga steps na dinadaanan natin, lahat yun requires emotions. So kailangan you are speaking from your heart because the client would feel whatever you're feeling. no? And again, a good sales professional is transferring that good feeling towards the other person in their conversation. And when you do that, of course, you are in control of your client kasi meron kang sequence na sinusundan. Okay? So next, please. Ngayon naman pag-aaralan natin ang selling tools. Ano ang pwede natin gamitin when we're in front of the client? So marunong na tayo, kaya na natin makipag-usap sa kliyente because nalaman natin that we'll have to find a commonality, which is the rapport kanina. And then after the rapport, we'll have to have the problem, solutions, and close. No? So dapat alam natin yan kahit naglalakad tayo. Diba? Yung mga basic 4 steps na dapat natin ginagawa when we are in front of the client. So right now, we will be using the selling tools. Again, you could use this to any of your profession if you are into the selling industry. Now, but with the intention of really, contributing to my industry, I would be using the selling profession, the life insurance industry selling profession in this tools. Okay, so number 1, we'll have to listen to the client. Typically, as I have mentioned, diba, listening to the client is a very hard skill to learn, no? May mga tao na pag kinakausap yung kliyente, nakikinig naman, diba? Nakikinig naman sila, dapat daw I have to listen to the client. But then, when they converse again to the client, yung napakinggan nila, hindi na nila ibinalik sa kliyente, no? So we have to make everything that we are listening be a tool. No, tools pala natin 'yon. Pag nakinig tayo, dapat pumunta siya sa isipan natin yung mga sinasabi niyang kliyente. Kasi that would be our weapon in closing a deal. When we listen, we'll have to give back to the client, no? Sinabi mo ma'am kanina that you are fond of your kids going outside the country every quarter. Grabe. How do you feel ma'am pag wala na po sila sa sa poder mo, nasa abroad po sila every quarter? Questioning the client would be the second selling tools. Okay, questioning. So remember, I asked that question based on what I have listened sa kliyente, no? The good sales professional will always throw back the questions in the form of what facts or ideas you've gotten from the client, no? So ang kliyente nagsabi na ang pinakagusto ko talaga sa buhay ko, Miss Ping, is really going outside the box, no? Gusto ko mga unconventional things that I am enjoying, like I do a very exotic drive to Maldives, yung mga gusto kong puntahan, no, exotic, yung mga adventure, no, na gusto kong gawin. So listening, I will have to ask questions. If I did listen, well, why do you feel being into that adventurous state? Mom would help you as a person, diba? Babalik mo lang sa kanila always, no? Parati mong sasabihin, pabalik sa kanila as a question. You have to dig deeper into what you are listening towards the client. Does that make sense? No, ibabalik through questions and igagamit ng questions also when you would want to prove to the client. Okay, number 3 would be kailangan din natin ng third-party stories. This is a very good tool because people love stories. Kasi lumaki tayo, bata tayo, kwento, di ba? Mga alamot ng punong kahoy. Di ba? Lahat na nabuhay, or, we love stories as a person, as a childhood, in our childhood memories. And even we grow up, we tend to gravitate towards beautiful stories as well to inspire us. Beautiful stories as well to move us. Diba? So you can use third-party stories, pero dapat po totoo, wag pong mag-imbento. Pag hindi naman totoo, you could borrow third-party story, borrow mo lang siya, no? Borrow, you'll have to quote the person who had that kind of story for you to feel authentic in terms of you doing the stories or the storytelling, no? Because again, sa lahat ng mga presentation mo, ang maiintindihan ng kliyente, ang mag-retain sa kanila, yung third-party story na binitawan mo. No? And that is something also that you could go back to when you would want to close the client. Okay, number 4, what else the selling tools that we could use simple analogies, no? We'll have to be very observant in terms of our clients' scenario, kung ano yung gusto, kung ano yung setup ng kliyente. We could be very smart in using simple analogies, no? Say, for example, you're using investment, no? Kunyari, investment. The client would want to really dig deeper into the technicalities of the investment and how it works, yung market fluctuations, di ba? Mga ganyan. Lahat ng mga technicalities gusto niyang intindihin. So, my simple analogies for that is that, kasi ang objection ng kliyente is that ayaw niya mag-invest kasi ang dami-daming dapat pag-aralan, di ba? Simple analogy would dictate, I would be using a simple analogy. Ma'am, hindi mo naman kailangan malaman kung paano umandar ang makina mo. All you have to do, all you are doing is that you're enjoying driving the car because you know how the car works. So simple lang din when you are also doing the investment, diba? You don't need to know the technicalities of everything, but you just have to know the basic framework on how the market industry operates as a whole. Does that make sounds fair to you, ma'am? Diba? Simple analogy. O nga, no? Kung naman kailangan matutunan kung paano umandar yung mga makina ng kotse ko, pero nagda-drive ako ng kotse. Correct? I am enjoying driving car. Again, simple analogy will make the client move into the action that you are pushing through because you made them understand the analogies of what you're presenting versus to what they are already doing. Kaya very keen tayo, very observant tayo sa mga simpleng analogy that we could use in front of the client or when we are presenting. Okay, so number 5, we would also be using the black paper and pen. Diba? Favorite ko to when I am closing the client because you could draw to the blank paper, you could slash a portion of whatever earnings that you have and then you transfer it to the other pocket. Diba? Para maging visual, para maging visual lang sa kliyente. It's being placed in terms of a black paper and pen, how much it is earning every year, how much she is earning from the bank versus the investment, what is the investment risk versus the yield. So the black paper and pen would be very important in really using it when you're pitching or presenting to the client. Okay, so number 6, of course, this is the favorite also of the client. It's visual aids. Parati tayong may dalang mga chart, di ba? Mga dalang kung ano-ano para ipakita sa kliyente. So this is called visual aids. No? So papakita lang sa kliyente, alam na. So this is very common. So visual aids, selling tools. And then, of course, number 7, you have to be very good in terms of knowing the technicalities of your products. No? Wala pa ring tatalo sa Alaska. Joke lang yon. Wala pa ring tatalo sa isang mahusay na financial advisor in our profession if you know the content of your proposal by heart. Alam mo kung saan nakalagay ang sinasabi ng clause na pinipresent mo. Alam mo kung saan mo mahanap ang clause na question ng kliyente. Alright, by understanding the technicalities, the complexities, and also, of course, the product specifications of what you are offering to the client. Are we good? So, lahat ng 7 main selling tools na yan, lahat pwedeng gamitin. Hindi naman sabay-sabay, pero one at a time, and that would ensure that you will be a very good sales professional because you have plenty, in your sleeves, no? So, hindi nadala sa third-party stories, makukuha natin sa simple analogies yan. Pag di pa rin nadala, okay, so let's labas natin ng black paper and pen, pakita natin sa kanila kinakailangan nilang makita, baka hindi sila auditory, baka sila ay visual, and they need to have something to read and see, diba? So that would be a very effective tool also for closing. And of course, as I've mentioned, visual aids and being very good in the product specification, lahat ng technicality, parang walking proposal ka, walking whatever you're selling, no? You are like a walking machine talking to whatever you need to talk. Pag tinanong ng kliyente, alam na alam mo. Yun lang po yan. Kasi ma-feel din ng kliyente kung hindi mo alam sinasabi mo because you will never be confident. and competent in terms of talking to the client. Are we good? So let's enhance, no? Pwede nating itanong sa ating sarili, ano kaya ang selling tools that I haven't used lately? Or ano kaya ang selling tools na gusto kong gamitin every time and that I would be very good in using it? Okay, so you can enhance it by asking yourself and really observing, no? Ako, when I was a newbie, when I will also be giving this a technique sa mga newbies in the selling professionals. After my presentation to the client, I shut down. Gumamit ako ng third-party storage check. Gumamit din ako simple analogy. Dito ko siya nasara. Okay ito So feeling ko this is very effective to me when I am presenting, no? So the usual na assessment mo would be coming from you. No, sabi nga ni Jim Rohn, the best important tool of your success, no, is you. Tayo yun. Di ba? Hindi sa kliyente. Tayo po yun. So we have to develop ourselves, we have to equip ourselves, and we have to be very good in front of the client for us not to be chasing success, but that success, we will be attracting success because we are very good sales professionals. Okay, so let's go dig deeper. Dahil we've mentioned kanina, everything is just emotion, di ba? Bakit tayo bumibili ng iPhone, di ba? Pwede naman Samsung. Bakit tayo bumibili ng Toyota? Pwede naman Ford. Bakit Ford? Pwede naman Toyota. Or bakit tayo bumibili ng whatever that you could find into your house? No? Why do you buy that instead of other products? Because of emotions, no? We would feel good because we are, relating to the brand, a connotation that when we're using the iPhone, it would be easy to use. Gusto natin yung feeling na we are used to having an easy access of everything. Diba? May mga emotions na binibigay yung mga produkto and services that we are consuming. All right? So those are emotions. And when we are doing the emotions, we are going to have, to really also use this as power tools, no? Kasama din siya. No? So number one would be have to put in the work, sincerity. No? Sincerity is something that the client must perceive, not you doing it. No? Sincere naman ako sa kliyente eh. Wrong. You have to make the client perceive that you are sincere. Kasi whether you are sincere to the client, if the client perceives you the other way around, then you could never make a sale. So you have to understand, perception of the client is the most important thing for us to understand. Para magamit natin tong power tools na to, we have to think like a client. We have to perceive ourselves like the client. Are you with me? Okay? So sincerity, it's the perception of the client that is more important than our perception to ourselves. Kahit na minsan, nakita ng mga sales professional na they are insincere to themselves, they are called fake emotions because they can fake it. No, kala mo sincere yung ahente, 'di ba? Pero hindi naman. Pero ang sincere naman ang dating sa kanya ng client, diba? The sales professional is being sincere, and then the perception of the sales of the client is not sincere, then it's still no. Okay, it doesn't help you at all into your selling profession. So dapat the sincerity should be perceived by the client and not the way around, no? So never think of your emotions when you're in front of the client. You have to think like the client. You have to perceive the client's eye. You have to live onto the client's eyes. Okay, so sincerity, perception of the client is the most important when we are showing sincerity. Number two, kailangan din po natin empathy. Masarap makipag-usap sa naiintindihan ka. Right? So we'll have to show that to the client. We have to be kind. We have to be that particular person to our client. Empathetic tayo. All right? Rule of the thumb, the most personal to us is the most general. Yung nararamdaman mo, nararamdaman din niya ng kliyente, nararamdaman din niya ng ibang tao. Kasi again, the most personal thing for us is the most general. No? So, makaka-relate tayo when we have felt that kind of emotion, when we felt that empathetic approach to the client, we really give that kind of empathetic feeling, no, or response dun sa mga sinasabi sa atin ng kliyente. At magugustuhan tayo ng kliyente because we are empathetic to their circumstances as well. Number 3, we really have to show them enthusiasm, because enthusiasm stems from the root word enthus, which is God, is within us, enthusiasm. No? So if you're enthusiastic, then God is within you. So if you are not enthusiastic, then who is within you? Di ba? Nakakatakot. No? So wala kang energy, low battery ka. Ano na, kailangan nating maging enthusiastic para tayo may benta. May sakit ka. Correct? So, if wala kang sakit, pag may sakit ka naman, manahimik ka na muna, di ba, sa selling professionals. So, you have to really nurse your ailment, no? But then, in the course of you presenting to the client, you have to be very enthusiastic so that the client will also feel the positive vibe, because everything is energy. When you are promoting or conveying that positive enthusiasm to the client because you are solving a problem, then that particular transaction would be positive at the end. Yun yung gusto natin. Maging magaling tayo, mahusay na selling professionals. Okay, letter H, number 4, we'll have to understand. This is something that I am still trying to learn. Okay, the humor side. No, because there are people who are born funny, and there are people who are just like me, trying hard copycat to become funny, no? Because funny people makes money. Masarap makipag-usap sa taong napapatawa ka, no? So yung mga may gift na nagpapatawa, yung bugoy-bugoyan lang, nakakasara, they are really very good and gifted people. Then I really salute them, no? Yung dahil sa you are fun with that particular person, hindi mo pa siya nakikita, pangalan pa lang niya, natatawa ka na. Because the character, don't get me wrong, yung nakakatawa na may sense, nakakatawang professional, and ang personality niya is funny. Okay? Kasi may nakakatawang nakakainis. Ang gusto natin nakakatawang maayos dahil matalino tayo makipag-usap sa kliyente, meron tayong sense, we have the substance, and we are really like to carry on with the conversation because we are, a funny person, no? So yung mga walang humor na katulad ko, pwede nating we actually personally I am still doing this right now. I still have I'm still using to have the joke time, 'di ba? Yung mga malilinis na joke that will just crack the ice between the client. Minsan pag kumakain kayo with the client, syempre hindi ka nang pwedeng magbenta because it's really kainan, 'di ba? You have to crack the ice. So dapat may baon kang joke. Dapat yung joke mo, pinag-aralan mo din kung paano mo ilalatag sa kliyente. And I'll tell you guys, that's also a positive point to the client. Even the joke pinaghahandaan. Ganun ka-importante as a sales professional para walang low key o wala tayong wala tayong dead air when we are in front of the client. And it's always been a good sorry. Hindi ko kayo tatantanan, sorry. All right, sorry for that. Okay, so we'll have that's part of my humor lang para tumawa kayo kasi we really have to have some pause as well. So number 5, na kailangan bit-bit din natin na to is always the showmanship, no? Dapat tayo yung alive na alive, tayo yung buhay. Kahit yung kliyente antok na antok, kailangan ng mga sales professionals, hindi naman OA, but they are full of showmanship. They are full of energy. Parang sa baterya ng cellphone, dapat naka 100% charge tayo ang mga cellular battery natin, no? So typically when we are presenting to the client 100%, we are into the good grooming, we have to be in a very good shape. We have this power tools with us, no? Baon natin yan, yung sincerity na yan, yung empathy na yan, nakiki-empathize tayo because we listen to the client. This enthusiasm and this humor. This being funny is also baon natin. May timing siya. Syempre, kailangan nating timingan. And the showmanship would always be there. No, kailangan ramdam ng kliyente na hindi ka nakaka-boring na kausap and you are making sense and you are really worth of their time. All right? So yun ang ating objective. We will be worth of their time para kausapin nila tayo all the time, and then we're adding value to them because we are again the solution, not the other way around. Tayo ang solusyon ng problema nila, hindi sila ang solusyon sa problema natin. Okay, because we are providing them the goods and services, the product and services that they need, and we are making sure that they are getting the best of what we could give them by becoming a very great sales professionals. Okay, so, but let me tell you also, no, kung paano na magsasara. Paano natin isasara ang kliyente? How would we do that? First is kailangan nating maintindihan that during the presentation, di ba kanina pinag-usapan natin yung 4 basic steps, no? So lahat ng steps na yon kailangan nagsasara tayo. Ibig sabihin, small, no? Closing is getting an agreement, and a lot of small agreements, maliliit, or little agreement equals to one big agreement. What am I saying? Remember, I have quiz for you, the 4 basic steps that we have. No, yung pinakadulo o yung pinaka-first muna natin, attention, yung AIDA natin, attention, interest, desire, and action. And then sa kabila naman, we've had, of course, yung tinatawag natin na rapport, no? Dun muna, bago tayo mag-rapport, dapat meron tayong trust. Correct? And during those sessions, during those phasing or stage nung format natin, dapat kumukuha na tayo ng agreement with the client. How do we do that? So, do you think, Ma'am, I meet your standards if you're choosing for your financial advisor? Do you think I qualified to be, can I be qualified to become your financial advisor? Wala tayong binibenta. Tinatanong lang natin, qualified ba ako na makipag-usap sa'yo as financial advisor? That is getting an agreement. Kasi kung sabihin ng kliyente, maybe, then you're not qualified if the client says maybe. Or the client paused before she answers, nag-isip pa siya eh. Ibig sabihin, hindi yun yung totoong sagot niya. Nag-isip lang siya para maging polite siya sa'yo. You have to be very keen and observant to the client's responses. Pag doon pa lang sumablay na, huwag na tayong mag-push to sa next format. Okay, we'll have to build muna the trust that we can be their financial partner, that we are credible enough for them to for us to talk to them. All right? So it's getting agreement all the time for the first basic steps, no? Dahil tinatawag nating basic steps to, hindi tayo tatalon, no? Gagawin muna natin siya all the time. Small agreements lead to the big agreement. Ibig sabihin nun, kailangan from the stages, we'll have to get agreement from time to time. So how do you feel, no, by asking questions, no, by making the client understand what you are saying? So how would you feel if the breadwinner could no longer provide for his family because he got sick? No? How would you feel? Puro mga open-ended question ang itatanong natin, no? Based on the phasing that we have. Always use questions, always get an agreement, and always wait for the agreement or agreement of the client to whatever question you are asking. Okay? So, I hope that is very clear. And very clear kasi ang gusto natin would be to get their yes. No? And of course, they will have to comply with our requested or implied action. Yun yung gusto natin maging output natin when we are talking to the client. No? Sinasabi niyang yes sa ating sagot dahil nag-agree siya sa ating mga sinasabi. And then she is complying with the requested action because, of course, she would want to proceed with the transaction. And that is, of course, getting the real agreement. Getting the real agreement means you are already making a sale. You are already becoming a very good financial advisor. If you're into the life insurance industry, you are really a very good real estate broker. If you're into the real estate industry, by making sure that the client said yes to your proposal and the client complied with whatever requested action you get from them. No? So, pipirma ka, saan ka pipirma? So, pumipirma na yung kliyente. Okay? So, I hope you're learning. No, so here naman are the 7 ways of getting agreement. No, may mga ways yan. Number 1 is full assumptive. So, will 2 million ma'am be okay ka na ba ma'am sa 50 million? Mag-start tayo sa 50 million. Full assumptive. Ikaw nang nagsabi and ikaw na ang you've already assumed that the client would be okay sa 50 million coverage. Would that be okay? Hindi yung sinasabi mo, ma'am, okay ba na mag-start tayo ng 50 million? Sum insured? May ba. So you are not in control to the client. No? When you are getting an agreement, dahil na profile mo naman yan, nakausap mo naman ng maayos, you've got to really have gone through the process, yung basic steps natin, diba, na financial need analysis mo naman yan, then you could fully assume how much she could afford. No? So let's start with the 50 million muna, ma'am, no? Para you could increase it naman over time. Ganun ang mag-full assumptive. No? You'll have to feel like you are the client, you are helping the client decide. So start with 50 million and then you just go upgrade it na lang over time. Would that be okay? Walang would that be okay? Kasi hindi na siya full assumptive. 50 million tayo start, ma'am. Ito po ang application form. All right, so full assumptive. You're already assuming that the client will be complying to your requested action. Okay? So, makakapag-full assumptive ka lang pag nagawa mong mahusay ang presentation. Pag nasara mo along the way, every steps of the way, yung nakakuha ka ng agreement sa kliyente. So, never use the full assumptive kapag hindi ka nakakakuha ng mga small agreement along the way. That is not a good tool for you. Okay, so may mga binabagayan po ito ha, itong mga pagkuha or pagsara ng mga kliyente in front of the client when you're closing a sale. All right, so binabagay ng full assumptive, you've done it thoroughly, the client agrees with you thoroughly, walang objection, tapos mahusay lahat talaga, nag-yes siya lahat sa mga questions mo, lahat ng mga bridge questions mo na 4, will this help you? Kaya mo ba to? What benefit would this be? If kaya mo to, is there anything else that would impede you from getting ahead of the plan? Diba? At lahat yun nag-yes siya, full assumptive is the best approach. Okay? Eh kung hindi naman ganun, Miss B, ang nangyari, can I use full assumptive? No, you cannot because mapapahiya ka. Hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yon because hilaw pa ang presentation mo. No? So, kailangan natin na bagayan kung anong gusto mong agreement kailangan bagayan kung paano ka magsasara. Alright? So, number 2, ito yung babagay doon. Pag hindi perfect yung pagkuha mo ng agreement, small commitment toward the facing, no? May mga objection siya, pwede mo siyang i-alternate choice. So, do you think, eto na ang papasok siya na ang mamimili kasi you are providing alternate choice already to the client. Kasi nga, hindi nga solid, hindi siya flawless yung presentation mo, and hindi din flawless yung response ng kliyente. Again, we are basing yung flawless presentation based on getting the commitment and based on the basic format that we have presented. I hope you're learning. Okay? So, alternate choice naman yung gagamitin natin pag hindi naging flawless yung presentation natin. So, ma'am, would 2 million and 3 million be okay with you right now? Pabiliin mo na siya. No? Siya na ang pamiliin mo kung ano yung gusto niya, 50 or 100M. Because you are not certain na kung ano yung gusto niyang mangyari. Sorry. All right. So next, I hope that's clear. Let's go to the next. Number 3 would be invitational. It's very easy. You'll be inviting the client to the particular closing that you would want to have. So this is the, proposal. This is the proposal. So sign ka na dito. So this is the whatever you would want to sign to have the client put into action, diba? So you're just inviting them to act onto that particular action that you need to have. Magpirma ng proposal or magpirma ng application form. That's invitation. Okay, so number 4. It's just minor point. No, you'll just use from the word minor point. Kuha ka lang ng isang simple na key dun sa iyong presentation and you highlight onto that. Say for example, sa life insurance industry again, we're using the health flex, no, na product for people who would want to have health insurance. So one minor point will be, say for example, Miss Client or Karen or whatever name of their client is, Mr. Smith na lang. So Mr. Smith, so if you will be signing it today, you'll just have to have 90 days. If the client signs today, ulitin natin. If the client signs today, according to the proposal, according to the application, he or she will be insured for today. And then pwede po siyang magkasakit within 90 days. Basta in good faith siyang kumuha right now, she could get or he could get already the coverage that this proposal is giving you. So just use one minor point, highlight something. No, hindi mo kailangan i-done lahat, no? Minor point isa. Ibig sabihin ng minor point, kumuha ng isa, i-highlight ang isang benefit na 'yon sa kliyente, no? So recap natin, kung kumuha siya ngayon, 90 days, pwede siyang magkasakit. Pwede siyang makapag-claim kaagad, no? That's just one minor point that I would want to highlight to the client. Okay, so you're following, right? Okay, good. So number 5, kailangan din natin syempre ng order book, no? Ito yung pinakamahirap sa madaming tao na magaling mag-present. Takot silang humingi ng pera or takot silang magpabayad sa kliyente. Ba't ka natatakot? Diba? Huwag kang matakot because again, you are helping the client. Hindi mo nirarab yung kliyente, hindi mo inuutangan yung kliyente, hindi mo hold up yung kliyente. This is not a highway robbery. You are giving a solution to the client. So you should be very bold enough and very courageous enough to really ask for the payment. So how would we settle ng 50 million? Sa bank transfer na lang ba, ma'am? Or sa whatever mode of facility? Just straightforwardly ask the order book. Just straightforward ask the payment. Walang madaming hanash, 'di ba? Diretso na kaagad kung paano bayaran ng kliyente. Huwag yung mga iba kasi nagra-rattle na. May mga joint field work pag pera ng usapan, medyo nagbabakal na sila, no, in terms of talking to the client. You should not be. Because your mindset, if you are hesitant of collecting payment, your mindset is that the client is giving you money. Your mindset should be you are giving products and services to the client. Kailangan niya to at ikaw ang solusyon ng pangangailangan niya. At dahil nakakatulong ka, straightforward kunin ang pera na yan para matulungan mo siyang totoo. All right, so just this shift of perception, the shift of paradigm, 'di ba? Na tayo yung tumutulong sa kliyente, hindi yung kliyente ang tumutulong sa atin. Yes, we earn commission from them, but mostly the commission is very insignificant compared to the services and compared to the benefit that they are getting when they ask for our service or when they access to our products and services. All right? Okay, so the last two would be pinaka-favorite ng mga nanay at tatay, di ba? Ito, nagawa itong puppy dog na to sa mga pet owner, no, na pet owner shops. Okay, so in the States, ginawa ito sa US kasi sa Pilipinas hindi naman masyadong trustworthy na magpahiram ng puppy sa mga nagbebenta. Diba? So what did the owner of the pet shop does is to lend the puppy to the mother of the children, no? So papasok sila, gusto ng may bata silang nakita, sasabihin nila sa nanay ng bata, you can borrow the puppy, no, for 2 weeks. Tapos kung hindi niyo po magustuhan, ibalik niyo po yung puppy sa amin, tapos wala po tayong pinag-usapan. Alright, it's a very good strategy, correct? So, ang sarap nun, no? So, walang commitment. Inaalis mo lang yung commitment dun sa kliyente by using the puppy dog approach. No? So, 2 weeks, pinahiram yung puppy dun sa parents ng gustong mag-alaga. Diba? And then, after 2 weeks, do you know kung isosoli pa ba noong mga mommies ang kanilang puppy nun sa pet owner shop? hindi na, binibili na nila. 9 out of 10 is really making the sale or binibili na yung puppies when they borrowed the puppies because napamahal na sa kanila yung puppy. All right, so similarly, this is I called in the life insurance approach ultimate source of closing. 'Di ba? Yung mga tipong na-exhaust mo ng lahat, nagawa mo na ang order book, na minor point mo na invitational, alternative choice mo, pumapalag pa rin. 'Di ba? How would you use the puppy dog, no? Extreme na puppy dog. So in the life insurance industry, I am telling to my clients because in the life insurance, meron tayong tinatawag na pre-look or yung tinatawag na cooling off period. So the particular person will just pay and then I will be telling them that if you are not happy and satisfied dahil napakadami niyang technical na question, what you have to do is to pay it right now and then 15 days you have the right to review all the details that I have mentioned to you. No, lahat ng mga sinabi ko sa iyo i-review mo because you already have the contract. And then after which after 15 days at na-review mo at meron akong nasabi sa iyo hindi tama at hindi totoo, then you can return the policy to me and no question asked, we will refund to you the money. All right? So, yun yung puppy dog sa mga life insurance advisor. So, ginagamit lang natin yan kapag hindi trustworthy ang kliyente, kapag gusto natin na ma-cover talaga yung kliyente because kailangan niya. Because again, we are the solution to the client's needs, no? Tayo mismo nakakaintindi na kapag wala siyang protection, wala siyang health insurance, mahihirapan ang pamilya niya. At gusto natin hindi mahirapan ang pamilya niya if the unforeseen occurrence will gonna visit his or her life. Okay, so puppy dog. Tapos na tayo. Number 7 is the most favorite of all time ng mga thunders na katulad ko, Ben Franklin closing. No? So Ben Franklin closing is that we will be helping the client to understand the pros and cons when they get our proposal. Life insurance industry, well, saying, okay, so what's the positive effect if you will be getting it? So i-list down natin. So what are the negative effects? Shall you start and putting ahead something for your future? Ililista din natin the pros and cons. This is the way that we got to help the client understand the positive and negative effect of him getting the plan, okay, or of him pushing in ahead towards what we are selling. So Benjamin Franklin closing. So I hope that's clear. So you can use any of the 7 ways of getting agreement depending on how you use the basic format. Kanina na pinag-usapan natin, the logical sequence that we have taught, and specifically kung ano yung response ng kliyente, this particular closing techniques would really put you into action kung ano yung dapat mong gawin pa para masara mo ang kliyente. But when you've executed the 7, definitely may masasara at masasara ka. Hindi siya pa-chamba-chamba. Talagang predictable ang results mo and you will be very good into your selling field. Okay. So next, kailangan lang meron lang tayong mga we'll have to tackle that next week, yung ating objection. Sorry, we'll have to stop from that still. Ma-overflow na po tayo ng ating pinag-aralan for today. So we'll just have to go through with that. Very basic. Balikan natin. Let's just summarize what we have learned for today, please. Let's go back to the first slide. Okay, so yan ang pinag-aralan natin today. We'll have to have the basic 4-step format, no? So just a recap. So we've had that. And again, you don't have to skip any portion of that. Kailangan pagdaanan talaga natin. Para hindi sayang yung effort natin when we talk to the person, we've had a very good feeling kasi napagdaanan natin yung steps na yan and a very high chances of closing the sale. So dun sa 5 mong makakausap, you could have a closing ratio of 40%. You would be a master closer, but we're just eyeing 20% as a beginner, diba? And over time, your closing ratio will also increase because over time, magiging magaling ka in using this sales format. So, yeah, so I hope that's very clear as a review, basic 4-step format. Yung mga nasa veterano na po at mga hindi nakakabenta dyan, please go back to basic. These are the basic steps that you have to do. No, should be no sales slump, no? When you have that sales slump, back to basic. Ano ang basic natin? Ito lang, simple lang. Ito, if you have anything to take away in this presentation, just really put that into heart, the basic format steps. Okay, next we've also tackled, 'di ba? Napag-aralan din natin the extremely important points, logical sequence ang lahat ng mga bagay at kailangan may emotion. Ang emotion ng kliyente ang pinakamahalaga when we are talking to them, and we as a sales professional should be in control of the table. In control tayo sa responses, and we are putting in the stimulus to the client. Tayo taga-bigay ng stimulus, silang taga-respond. And the response that they are giving us should be positive because we have pre-planned the questions and the format we have followed. No? So we are smarter sales professionals following this tool. Next, diba? We've also had the selling tools, diba? Napag-aralan natin din yung 7 selling tools. So mamili na lang po kayo dyan ng pinakagusto nyo. And mamili din kayo, you just write down a journal which best-selling tools you would want to improve or which is best for you when you are talking to the client, ano yung pwede niyong gamitin dyan. Okay? So, 7 main selling tools. Napag-aralan din natin yung power tools. Importante ang perception ng kliyente sa atin, hindi yung perception natin. We should be perceived as sincere and we should be perceived as empathetic. And syempre, nakikita yan, enthusiasm, have some fun, and of course, have some showmanship. All right, and yung closing, napag-aralan din natin that in every step of the way, we have to get a closing, no? Closing is getting an agreement. Small steps leads to big steps. Small closing agreement would be to big agreement. Okay, so dapat na ano natin yan na pa-practice natin. Always asking the client para mag-respond siya ng yes, and of course, para mag-go siya, mag-issue na siya ng cheque or whatever you would want to ask him, no? Kahit hindi ka pa nagsasara in asking the check, no? May mga papagawa ka sa kliyente, kukunin yan, gagawin yan dapat. So ma'am, can I show your financial statements, no? So kukunin ng kliyente. If you are trustworthy, if you are already into that level of confidence or competent in front of the client, no? So hindi pa nagsasara, humihingi ka pa lang ng financial docs, binibigay na, and that's also showing commitment to your, commitment of your client to you. So next, napag-aralan din natin yung 7 ways of getting full agreement, di ba? So I hope you've enjoyed this session. So I hope you get to use all of this getting agreement, no? So meron tayong flawless presentation, full of substantive, to what I call desperate close, the puppy dog, no? But never use the desperate close if you could use the best approach, which is the full assumptive close, di ba? So dapat po, i-execute natin yan because this is our armory, this is our tools of, when we're in front of the client, the tools that we have to use para maging smarter, better, and very credible sales professional tayo. Okay, so we've done that. Ang ating pag-uusapan, tama na, last slide na yun, no, Ken? So we've done the 7 ways of getting agreement, and by next session, we will be talking how to handle objections. So if you want to tune in, let's have that next session into handling objections of the client. With that, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. And this is again, Lilibet Soriano Valete, your Wealth Wisdom Coach in ACMA. Thank you very much.